It's 2 a.m. A beeping monitor. A nurse walks into room 237 at the hospital. Her name is Nancy Russell. She fits the white coat like an angel of mercy. But in the next minute, the patient flatlines. The alarms scream. Staff rush in. They call the code. They can't revive him. And that night, this is just the beginning of a horror that lasts for years. But what happened next shocked everyone. The sun had set over New Jersey. The hospital corridors smell of antiseptic and fear. The hum of ventilators and the whir of pumps fill the late night. In one of those wings worked Nancy Russell, a compassionate ICU nurse, always calm, always in control. She's trusted by patients, trusted by doctors, trusted by families. Our victim in this story, Mary Thompson, age 75, admitted for pneumonia. She's weak but stable. She watches Nancy walk in, smile, offer comfort. She doesn't realize the danger she's in. We'll be posting deep dive true crime stories every day, so subscribe now and never miss a case. In the next 16 years, hundreds of patients will die under Nancy's watch. Hundreds. And no one raises the alarm. Until one day, something goes wrong. Nancy Russell had the kind of smile that made patients relax. She moved through the halls of St. Luke's Hospital in New Jersey with quiet confidence, her shoes barely making a sound on the polished floors. Everyone knew her name. Everyone trusted her. To the outside world, she was the perfect nurse, soft-spoken, compassionate, always ready to help. But behind that calm expression was a woman whose darkness would take 16 years to uncover. Before the nightmare began, Nancy's life seemed ordinary. She grew up in a working-class Pennsylvania town, the oldest of three. Her mother taught Sunday school, her father repaired cars. From childhood, Nancy wanted to heal people. She practiced wrapping bandages around her dolls, memorized medical terms before high school, and graduated near the top of her nursing class. She was the one everyone counted on: steady hands, gentle heart. Her professors called her born to care. When she joined St. Luke's, co-workers admired her dedication. She volunteered for night shifts no one else wanted. She covered double shifts without complaint. Nancy never sleeps, one doctor joked. But there were small cracks easily ignored, an obsessive neatness with medication carts, long hours alone with patients, a strange calm whenever alarms blared. Outside of work, she lived a quiet life. A small apartment, a golden retriever named Jasper, church on Sundays. Neighbors described her as polite, maybe a little distant. No close friends. No family visits. Just the same routine: work, home, sleep, repeat. At the hospital, her reputation grew. Families requested her by name. Supervisors praised her composure under pressure. She's a miracle worker, one family said after a successful recovery. But miracles in Nancy's orbit came with a cost. Because quietly, behind the hum of heart monitors, patients under her care were dying. Too many. Too often. No one noticed the pattern. Deaths in hospitals weren't uncommon, and Nancy was always there to comfort grieving relatives. She'd touch a shoulder, whisper a prayer, shed a tear that looked genuine. When records showed she'd been on duty during several sudden cardiac arrests, it was brushed off as coincidence. Still, a chill lingered in the ICU, something unspoken. Nurses swapped uneasy glances. It's been a rough month, they'd say, but no one dared connect the dots. Not yet. Because Nancy Russell, the angel of mercy, hadn't revealed her true face. And soon, she wouldn't need to hide it. It was a quiet night, the kind that makes every sound in the ICU feel amplified. The rhythmic beeping of monitors, the soft hiss of oxygen tanks, the distant hum of fluorescent lights. Nancy Russell moved between patients with her usual calm precision. But behind that gentle smile, she was preparing for something no one could imagine. Her first victim that night was an elderly man recovering from heart surgery. He'd been stable all day, laughing with his daughter during visiting hours. At 2:07 a.m., the monitors began to scream. The nurse on duty, Nancy, was already there, syringe in hand. She pressed the call button after the alarms blared, not before. The code team rushed in. Chest compressions. Adrenaline. Chaos. Nancy stood by, silent, her eyes fixed on the clock. After 20 minutes, the doctor called time of death. Complications, he said. Nancy nodded softly, almost relieved. The next morning, she handed in her shift notes with flawless handwriting. No one questioned a thing. Death was part of the job. And Nancy, sweet, steady Nancy, was just doing hers. Weeks later, another patient, a 43-year-old woman admitted for dehydration, collapsed without warning. Same shift. Same nurse. The hospital blamed it on electrolyte imbalance. Nancy comforted the husband, her hand resting on his shoulder. eyes glistening with empathy. "She didn't suffer," Nancy whispered. But patterns were forming. A medical aide noticed how often patients coded during Nancy's rounds. A pharmacist flagged an unusual number of digoxin withdrawals logged under her name. When questioned, Nancy laughed it off. "Probably clerical errors," she said. She even volunteered to help with the audit. Then came the night that changed everything. A patient who'd been expected to go home the next day strong, stable, smiling suddenly flatlined. The doctor arrived to find Nancy alone in the room. Her explanation was simple. "I heard the alarm and came in." But security footage told another story. Nancy had entered 3 minutes before the cardiac event, carrying an unlocked syringe. The whispers grew louder. "Something's wrong," one nurse said. But fear and respect kept everyone quiet. No one wanted to accuse the hospital's best nurse. By the end of that month, 3 more patients were dead. The atmosphere in the ICU turned heavy, haunted. Staff avoided working her shifts. Some prayed before clocking in. But Nancy? She smiled, calm as ever, walking those sterile halls like nothing had happened. And that's when the investigation finally began. The first whisper of suspicion came from the pharmacy. A technician noticed that Nurse Nancy Russell's name appeared again and again in the drug logs, always near vials of digoxin, a powerful heart medication that could save lives or end them. At first, it seemed like a coincidence. She worked in cardiac care after all. But when they cross-checked usage records, the pattern was impossible to ignore. The deaths were lining up perfectly with her shifts. A quiet internal review began. Administrators gathered behind closed doors, shuffling papers, lowering voices. They didn't want panic or bad press. The hospital had a reputation to protect. Still, one compliance officer made the call: pull her patient charts. Every one of them. What they found was chilling. A string of unexplained cardiac arrests, no documentation of distress before death, and medication doses missing from supply with no signatures. Investigators reached out to Nancy's previous employers. That's when the horror widened. Every hospital she'd worked at, over a dozen in 16 years, had similar stories. Unexplained deaths, spikes in mortality, quick resignations. But none of them had filed formal complaints. Some even provided glowing references, just to make her leave quietly. Detectives began digging deeper. They interviewed co-workers. One said she was too calm during codes, almost detached. Another remembered Nancy canceling medication orders seconds after patients coded. Her shift logs revealed something no one could dismiss. Wherever she went, death followed. Forensic analysts reopened autopsies. They found toxic digoxin levels in patients whose charts showed no such prescription. When questioned, Nancy denied everything. Her voice was steady, almost rehearsed. "I cared for those people. I'd never hurt them." But her mask was slipping. Detectives searched her apartment. In her kitchen drawer, they found empty medication vials, torn from hospital stock, each with partially removed serial numbers. On her nightstand sat a notebook filled with dates and patient initials. "Prayer list," she told them. Investigators saw a kill log. The FBI joined the case as the scale grew. Hundreds of deaths across state lines. The data screamed one name: Nancy Russell. But the real battle was proving intent. Without witnesses, without confession, how could they convict a nurse who hid behind professionalism and compassion? Then came the breakthrough: a surviving patient who recalled Nancy injecting something moments before collapsing. That testimony cracked everything open, and from there the truth poured out like poison. By the time the case reached trial, the story of Nurse Nancy Russell had already gripped the nation. The angel of death, the media called her. The woman who smiled as hundreds died under her care. But inside the courtroom, Nancy looked nothing like a monster. Her hair was neatly tied back. Her voice was calm, polite, almost gentle. To the jury, she could have been anyone's nurse, anyone's caregiver. That was what made her so terrifying. Prosecutors laid out the evidence in chilling detail. They showed hospital charts marked with Nancy's signature just minutes before patients flatlined. They displayed drug logs showing her accessing lethal doses of digoxin, morphine, and insulin without corresponding doctor's orders. They read the handwritten prayer list found in her apartment, dozens of names, dates, and hospital wards. Families of victims gasped. One mother fainted when she recognized her daughter's initials. The defense fought back, claiming Nancy was being scapegoated for systemic hospital failures. They said she was overworked, that she made innocent documentation errors. They pointed to her clean disciplinary record, her volunteer work, her spotless demeanor. "There's no proof she intended harm," her lawyer argued. But then came the bombshell testimony: the survivor. An elderly patient, weak but alive, took the stand. He told the jury he remembered Nancy standing over him, whispering, "This will help you rest," before he blacked out. When he woke days later, doctors told him he'd been minutes from death. Toxicology results confirmed the same substance found in multiple victims. The courtroom fell silent. Nancy's expression didn't change. After weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for just 4 hours. The verdict: guilty on multiple counts of murder and attempted murder. Nancy Russell was sentenced to life in prison without parole. She showed no emotion as the judge read the sentence, only that same quiet smile. In the aftermath, hospitals across the country faced public outrage. Investigations exposed how administrators ignored warnings, how no one connected the deaths that followed her from state to state. New laws were passed, mandating better reporting and tracking of medical staff transfers. Still, many believe Nancy's real victim count will never be known. Some estimate over 400 lives lost, silent deaths buried under bureaucracy. And even now, years later, one haunting question remains. How many angels of mercy are still out there walking the halls tonight? What turns a caregiver into a killer? Experts call it the angel of mercy complex, a dark psychological phenomenon where medical professionals play God, deciding who lives and who dies. In Nancy Russell's case, it wasn't sudden. It was a slow, deliberate transformation hidden behind years of professionalism and trust. Criminal psychologists describe her profile as a blend of narcissistic control and compassion fatigue twisted into pathology. Nancy began as a model nurse, empathetic, diligent, adored by patients. But somewhere along the line, the power to heal became the power to end suffering. Each injection, each overdose, fed a hidden hunger for dominance disguised as mercy. She convinced herself she was helping, ending pain, easing the dying. But that illusion of mercy became an addiction. Once she realized how easily she could take life without consequence, she didn't stop. She refined it. The act itself became ritualistic. Late nights, dim lights, the soft sound of monitors, it was her stage. Her control was absolute. Psychologists also point to Munchausen by proxy within medical settings when a caregiver causes harm to maintain the role of savior. Nancy thrived on chaos she secretly created. She wanted to be the calm in the storm she started. When patients crashed, she was the first to respond, the one everyone thanked. In their eyes, she was a hero. But inside, she was detached, emotionally hollow. Years of trauma, isolation, and a craving for validation shaped her into a predator who hid behind compassion. Like many medical serial killers before her, Nancy's mask worked because no one dared question kindness. Her case reveals an uncomfortable truth. Evil doesn't always look like rage or madness. Sometimes it smiles softly, wears scrubs, and whispers, "I'm here to help." Nancy Russell's story isn't just about one nurse, it's about blind trust, broken systems, and the terrifying ease with which evil can hide in plain sight. For 16 years, she was praised, promoted, and protected while hundreds of patients took their last breath under her care. Each of them believed they were safe. Each of them looked up and saw kindness. But behind that gentle face was something unthinkable. Even after her conviction, the true number of victims remains uncertain. 400, maybe more. Every hospital she worked in carries unanswered questions. Every file, a life that may never be accounted for. And that's the part that still haunts investigators: the silence of those who could have spoken sooner, and the system that chose to look away. Stories like this remind us that monsters don't always come with warning signs. Sometimes they come wearing a badge of trust, a name tag, and a steady smile. If this story chilled you, subscribe and turn on notifications, because tomorrow, we're diving into another true case that's even darker. Until then, tell me this in the comments. Would you rather trust the person who saves you, or fear the one who can decide when you die?